everybody. I'm Sheila Long O'Mara, Executive Editor with Furniture Today. Thanks for tuning in to today's Bedding Insight. I want to introduce you to my guest today, Alison Keane, who is the new president of the International Sleep Products Association. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Sheila. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for taking some time out. I know you're busy settling in. You just got started, a couple weeks ago. I know things are kind of crazy.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So your background is you're an environmental lawyer by trade, but tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to be at ISPA.
Sure. So, I went to law school for environmental law, but I've never practiced. So I don't consider myself a real lawyer. I say I'm a policy lawyer. And I went to work right after law school for the Maryland State Senate. So I got very quickly into legislation and, like I said, policy. And from then I went to a contractor for EPA. And when the contract ended with the Environmental Protection Agency in DC, I started looking for other jobs and I found the American Coatings Association. Did not know associations existed, but for those of you who don't know, there is literally an association for everything. And this was the Association for Paint Manufacturers. And I knew the Clean Air Act and the Occupational Health and Safety regulations. I knew about how to write legislation and advocate on behalf of folks. I didn't know anything about paint or the association, but I spent 17 years there learning under my predecessor, who was the VP for Government Affairs. And that led me to my next job, which was actually going from being VP, vice president, to a president and CEO. And that was with the Flexible Packaging Association. And that association also in the DC area represents folks that actually take paper and film and foil and make it into that package that you buy your salad or your snacks or your confectionery with. And that's where I was for 8 years prior to taking this job. But if you back up a little bit, when I worked for the paint industry, I worked with Ryan Trainer with ISPA about 15 years ago when they were putting the MRC, the Mattress Recycling Council, together. I had prior to that put Paint Care together, which is a very similar recycling EPR, extended producer responsibility program for paint. So you can bring your paint back to a Sherwin-Williams or a Home Depot and you can get it recycled and instead of throwing it in a landfill. Ryan's super smart. He came to us and he said, how did you do that? I want to mirror MRC after that. I want to learn from your successes and your mistakes. And that's exactly what he did. And so we spent a lot of time together. And when he decided to retire at the beginning of the year, he reached out to me and said, hey, are you interested? Long story short, here I am.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So, and speaking of the Mattress Recycling Council, Oregon is now coming online January 1 with their program. So that makes 4 states. And I expect we'll see more under your leadership.
Yes, we've got a couple states that we almost got through this year, when that is New York and Virginia. So we'll 100% be back there in the next cycle starting in January. There's still Massachusetts, which is potential for this year because they are a full-time legislature, but generally speaking, we're probably going to be looking at next year for them as well because they don't do a lot of policy work in the fall. But yeah, any state that's interested in doing it and doing it the way we have done it so that it's consistent across states, we're going to be talking to. Maryland is another one, and certainly Washington, D.C., which would be great to have Maryland, DC, and Virginia, which, we're headquartered in Virginia. Makes a lot of sense to have that 3-state or 2-state in the district approach right around our headquarters. So I'm looking forward to working with those states and any others that are interested.
That's pretty exciting. So you found the bathroom at the headquarters. You found your office.
Barely.
Kind of how to navigate. But what do you have, I guess, what is priority number 1? What can we expect to see under your leadership?
Yeah, so I think then this is what I told the search committee, right? I think the first thing is to just do no harm. Ryan's done a tremendous job with both organizations. They're working well. It's going to be really difficult to fill his shoes. He's got such a wealth of knowledge and such a passion for the industry. So I'm hoping to replicate that and not really screw anything up, right? So sit with it, learn it for the first year, do no harm. But I also think one of my priorities and something that I spoke with Ryan and some of the staff that I've met so far about is they do a great job from an advocacy perspective, which we should, because that's our tutelage as an association to advocate on behalf of the manufacturing industry. Legislation, regulation. What I'd like to see is us elevate that advocacy, elevate the promotion of the industry, elevate it to policymakers, whether at the state or federal level, and really get out to the consumer, right? Really show the consumer how important this mattress is to their everyday lives, whether it's physical or mental health. And just how complex it is, how much thought and innovation this industry puts into that, that square rectangle, or, so that it can, really elevate their own lifestyle and elevate their own mental and physical wellness. So that's really where I see us going, in the immediate short term, which is just let's shout it from the rooftops about how great this product is and why you need it in your life.
Oh, I love that. I keep thinking there might be some creative way to tell that story beyond, our little microcosm of the industry. So that'll be
right. Yeah. You don't know it till you know it. So how do we get out to the consumer, somebody who just thinks, yeah, I'm just going to go buy a mattress and there's not too much to it. Like, no, there's a lot to it. And how do we tell you that in a way that's easy? And then how do we promote ourselves to, the folks on the Hill, your representatives and your senators or your states, and tell the good story about all that we're doing with sustainability, and again, promoting health and wellness, so that, if something does come down the pike, a piece of legislation, and they can say, hey, I know somebody in the mattress industry, let's use them as a resource, or just get them out to the facilities in their own constituent bases and say, wow, isn't this great? Look what's happening in our backyard. And this is a great industry. So just, promoting ourselves before we need anything, before there's any ask, just so that we make sure that everybody knows we're there and what we're doing and why it's so important to the economy.
That's exciting. So I know you were walking the halls at Las Vegas Market back in July. Any surprises?
Yeah, the surprise was how much goes into making a mattress. And, the sustainability, number one, all the different mechanisms and all the different substrates that they can use to make it more sustainable or more recyclable. The innovation, cooling technologies, heating technologies, the different mattresses and how they make them so that they support, your shoulders or your hips or your back or whatever it is that you need help. Even the technology systems that they put together, right? Buy this mattress, but also make sure that you have the right pillow or the right mattress cover or whatever it is, so that the system works as a whole. That was fascinating. And again, something that a normal consumer that just is going to buy a mattress wouldn't know. But I want ISPA to be part of telling that story.
Oh, well, that's exciting. And I can't wait to see the evolution as you continue to lead the industry through it all. I think we're out of time.
Me too. Haven't quite got it figured out how we're going to do it, but I certainly want to do it. That's definitely my vision.
Very cool. Well, listen, I thank you for taking some time, and I look forward to us continuing our conversation as you continue to evolve your role and your position at ISPA.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sheila. I appreciate it.
Sure. Again, I'm Sheila Long O'Mara with Furniture Today. Thanks for tuning in.